Hey everybody, welcome to the Miami Herald's coverage of spring training. First day, we're finally back here in Jupiter. These are the voices you hear if you listen to the Marlins podcast at the Miami Herald. Jordan McPherson, our Marlins beat writer. I'm Andre Fernandez, deputy sports editor. Welcome back to Marlins baseball, right? I mean, we've been waiting for this 99 days was when we were locked up. Everybody was locked out, it seems, from baseball. But we're finally here, Jordan. We were here today. We got the chance to talk to many of the important people in this franchise. You know, principal owner Bruce Sherman spoke a little bit, general manager Kim Ng, Don Mattingly. Just overall, what'd you think of the first day and, the challenges this team is facing, heading into the 2022 season?
Yeah, well, first day is always optimism. It's spring, everybody's ready to go, everybody's excited about what's to come. The main line that I take away from this was Bruce Sherman saying, we have money and we're going to spend. That was the key thing that everyone was trying to figure out, especially after the Marlins and former CEO Derek Jeter parted ways a couple weeks ago, was were they going to keep spending? Were they going to continue doing what they did before the lockout happened when they signed Avisail Garcia and traded for Joey Wendell and Jacob Stallings and extended Santiago contract? If they're going to spend, they have some holes they have to fix. They obviously need one more key bat at least, ideally an outfielder. That would speak to a Michael Conforto or Nick Castellanos if they go free agency route. Potentially Brian Reynolds from the Pittsburgh Pirates if they go the trade route, if they're willing to part with some prospects. They also need a late inning reliever. That's priority number 2. But if they're going to spend money, if they're going to say that, we need to actually see it. That's been the main thing over these last few years. We saw some glimpses of it before the lockout. Let's see if it continues. And obviously, it's going to need to happen soon because we're 3.5 weeks from opening day.
Right, and that's the refreshing part, like you're saying. I mean, to hear that from Bruce Sherman was good because, for a long time, the fans have been like, all right, when is that going to happen? Let's see if the next few days and weeks end up doing that. Also, just, to get a deal done, to get baseball going again, a franchise like the Marlins couldn't afford to see that drag on any longer. So, it was good to obviously get that part of it. And we both talked to a couple of the players today. Miguel Rojas was as usual, very forthcoming when it came to just how much went into that process. What was your takeaway, from seeing how Miggy spoke about getting that deal done, not just for this cast of players around Major League Baseball, but for the future of the game too?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Miguel Rojas has been the Marlins player rep for a few years now. He was at the table at times during the bargaining sessions. He saw everything that happened in the room that may not have completely come out on the outside. And their message was simple. We're not going to accept a deal that we think is beneath us. We're going to find a way to not only get a deal that's good for us, but to help set the stage for the next generations. That's why getting the things like the pre-arbitration pool, getting minimum salaries raised, raising the CBT threshold, getting all that raised. It was things to help start getting the next generation ready. And they were happy that they got it done to the point where they only missed a week or so of spring training. But they mentioned if the lockout had to drag out, it was going to drag out until they figured things out. And also want to mention what Rojas did away from the table, which was helping set up some group workouts among the players. A lot of them met up in Palm Beach Gardens a couple times a week for about 2 to 3 weeks while the lockout was going on, just to make sure that when spring training finally came, they were ready to go, and they looked ready to go on day one.
Another thing too is, and we've talked about this a lot, is we all feel like this is kind of a crucial make or break year for this team. Can they finally take not just, a relevant step towards contention? Can this rebuild finally show tangible, long-lasting results? Like you said, they added in the offseason. They brought in a Joey Wendell who has been there, done that with a team like the Tampa Bay Rays. I like Miguel Rojas' point saying if he can give someone perspective about a low payroll team being successful, he's the guy being over in Tampa. Jacob Stallings behind the plate, Avisail Garcia, and there's plenty others. And you have, of course, guys who aren't prospects anymore. They're being counted on to be key. Why do you think, Jordan, why do you think this team could be better in 2022? And do you realistically see them, from what you've seen these last few years, taking a significant jump?
I feel like if they don't take the jump this year, I don't know when it's going to happen. That, to me, is the key thing. We're going into year 5 now. Yes, 2020 with the COVID year, that set them back on the prospect side and the minor league camp side. And they had a decent amount of injuries last season, which played a factor in the, 65-win season. And Don Mattingly, his line was, I feel like last year was a step back to step forward. With all the injuries, they lost Garrett Cooper, they lost most of their rotation at parts of the year. It was a part where they were able to see the seeds that were growing from the minor leagues. You were able to see the taste of what they could provide. A guy like Trevor Rogers stepping up. A guy like Jazz Chisholm getting his first full year. Guys like Jesus Sanchez and Brian De La Cruz and Lewin Diaz getting extended looks. Obviously, it didn't help in the win-loss column, but it helped in the experience part. So now when they get into this season and they have a chance to play a full year under their belt, it will give them the confidence and the understanding of what needs to be done. Whether it happens, we'll see. But they have the stage set to potentially make that push where they may, if they can, potentially be in contention in September. I'm not saying they're going to make the playoffs. I'm not saying they're making a World Series run. But they have the pieces that if things do fall in their favor, they have a chance to make a run.
It's still a loaded National League East. Will they win? Won't they win? This man here and myself, we're going to keep documenting it for you as much as possible. Check out our podcast. That'll be up at MiamiHerald.com soon, as well as with this and a bunch of articles. And we appreciate you following us as always. We'll talk to you soon.